Namaskar. Today, with our growing knowledge of nutrition, we are becoming more and more aware of how the food we eat impacts our physical and our mental health. And we're also seeing a increasing and worrying rise in many common diseases of this generation, whether it be heart disease or cancer, Alzheimer's, and so on. So it's causing doctors and medical experts to look at what type of food we're eating, how it is contributing to these kind of health issues which are growing by the day. It is estimated that the typical American diet, Western-based diet, that is causing the highest rate of obesity ever seen on the planet. In the United States alone, 40% of the population is obese, and 18% are very obese. This puts a tremendous strain on the healthcare system. And that diet, which consists mostly of high fat, high sugar, high calorie, low fiber foods, is one of the major factors, along with lack of exercise and stress, that are creating our health problems today. Unfortunately, that diet is also spreading to other parts of the world which were they had more emphasis on plants, like India or China, Far East Asia. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how our food choices impact, or the benefits of a plant-based diet in terms of our physical health and the health of our planet and the health of our spirit. So, this age was known by, it's called Kali Yuga by the yogis, and that means the age of great darkness and crudity. And one of its characteristics is the over-attention we pay to food, which is certainly the case today. And so, the yogis devised a system of how the food we eat, not only it affects our bodies, but how it affects our minds as well. So that means making intelligent, right food choices. And we can see that with many experts, they are of the opinion, as the doctors and medical experts who are involved in treating patients with these diseases of, the common diseases of today, they are saying that this health problem is actually preventable, totally unnecessary. John Robbins of the Earth Save movement, he says that we should change the name of our healthcare system to disease management system, because we're not actually caring for our health. In other words, preventing the disease in the first place, caring for our health. We're actually managing the diseases that come from our wrong lifestyle choices, whether it be, taking more drugs, or taking antibiotics, resorting to surgery. And these are some of the ways that we are managing diseases which are becoming more and more difficult to control. And Dr. Dean Ornish, his Heart Save program, his Heart Reverse program, is actually supported by certain growing number of states in the United States. And his program is based on a whole foods, plant-based diet that includes meditation and yoga, different types of exercises and support groups. And Dr. Joseph Clapper, he advises his patients to eat a plant-based diet focusing on the 4 S's. That's salad, soup, steamed vegetables, and starches. And the results from their work is growing more and more widely, and is convincing people to look more carefully, because doctors are not trained in medical school about the effects of nutrition on people's health. But this is becoming so important today. We slaughter about 70 billion animals every year for our food. And many of those animals have feelings and have intelligence. Though they may not be able to express, they would like to live as much as we would like to live. They cannot articulate that to us, but it doesn't mean that that truth is any less valid. So when our diet is based on the slaughter of these animals, certainly it will have its own karmic repercussions on us. So, if we could only see how animals are treated, it may help us to shift to a plant-based diet. Because in the olden days, in the previous generations, cows used to graze in open fields in family-run farms. But that has been replaced by modern industrialized agriculture. And that means that animals, cows and other animals, are kept in very closed and cramped and dark quarters. They don't get any exercise. They are injected with growth hormones to increase their production. And they're given antibiotics so that they somehow can remain healthy until they're slaughtered. And they don't see light, and they're many times removed from the calves which they have given birth to. So this is an extremely cruel method of treating these beings, living beings. And our first principle, which we teach in the channel of Yama Niyama, is ahimsa, not harming, not consciously harming any living being, because this moral principle strengthens our spiritual self, our spiritual dimension and potentiality. So we have to give attention to this point when it comes also to the foods which we eat. So the word agriculture is actually a misnomer today, because the way we grow food as a culture, the culture of growing food with people who love the land and nourish the soil and take care of the other members, animals that live on their farms, that has been replaced by agribusiness. So food is no longer a culture, it has become a business model. And in that business model, the most important thing is to increase profits. And profits are increased when we increase production and when we lower costs. So animals, as long as they're alive, it's good enough. That is, they are a commodity for earning income, and nothing else is considered in terms of their feelings and their lives and how they may also be helpful to humans in other ways. So at the same time, if we see the rising incidence of super cyclones, uncontrollable forest fires, changing weather patterns, it is very much, as people are saying, linked to climate change. And the fact is that modern industrialized agriculture, it utilizes most of its energy from fossil fuels, and it contributes 25 to 30% of carbon dioxide emissions. So the nature is showing us by these different unusual weather patterns or fires or cyclones that we've passed the sustainability point. And unless we change the way in which we utilize the dwindling resources of our earth, then we will see more and more of these very dangerous climatic fluctuations and changes which threaten human lives. So in our channel, we have, but unfortunately we can see that even the Amazon river basin, so-called lungs of the planet, still the land is being cut down, the trees are being cut down to make way for land which will grow crops, which will be fed to animals, which we will then eat. This is a highly unsustainable and wrong utilization of precious earth resources. It's estimated that the meat-based diet weakens our immune system and can also contribute to diseases like COVID-19 and similar diseases, which are marked by a lower resistance to infections and germs and viruses. So it's a kind of karmic reaction that we're facing because we're ignoring some very important aspect of our life and the life of other beings we share our planet with. We've talked about on this channel different myths that human beings still live under and which are no longer valid, and with relation to food, that people still think that they don't get enough protein from a plant-based diet. And of course, I've explained in one of my earlier videos about transition to a plant-based diet. This is has been proven totally false. And many world-class athletes have changed to plant-based diet, and they found their performance has improved so much from that shift. And the other myth is that animals are born for us to eat, that they have no other purpose. Yet we know that many animals, although cows might be eaten in certain parts of the world, in India they're considered sacred. And although some people may eat pork, other people keep smaller breeds of pigs as domestic pets. And we would be horrified to think that our pet would be slaughtered for our food. So it's important that we become more aware that living beings, in neo-humanism, we talk about neo-humanism, that social outlook means the practice of love for all beings. And when we can adopt this kind of social outlook, we will be healthier as individuals, our planet will be healthier, our spirits will be pure, and this will help us in all areas of our life. So it's something that we should look carefully when we return to some semblance of normality, maybe later next year, that another look at how our foods choices can benefit us and the world in which we live. And I'm sure it is very possible we can do it, and by doing so we could create a paradise on this earth. Thank you. Leave some of your comments and share your ideas from this video. Namaskar.